Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my palettes revisited for March. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In this video, I will be doing an extra large edition of my palettes revisited. I do this video every single month where I go back to older palettes and show you the looks that I did with them now that and ask myself the questions like, do I still love these? Do these still serve a purpose in my makeup collection? And it's usually an opportunity for me to go back to old favorites. The reason why this is an extra large edition is because in February I ran out of videos to post in a month that I could still do this, and I was in a bit of a time crunch when it came to doing all the looks with the palettes I had done, so I decided to fuse March and February together and show you everything right now. So let's talk about the 5 palettes I wanted to use again in February first, and then I'll show you the palettes and looks that I did with the March selection. The March selection was a little bit smaller precisely because I knew I still had to do some looks with these things, so I didn't want to overwhelm myself, also because I was testing out 3 fairly large eyeshadow palettes in the month of March that were new to me, and there's only so many days in the month. I usually do my makeup every single day. Sometimes I don't like wearing any makeup at all, so there's definitely just like a way of like fusing these things into my day-to-day, and therefore there's only so much I can do. But yeah, these were the 5 palettes that were in my Shop My Stash for February that I really do enjoy. Someone actually mentioned the other day when I was posting a video on colorful eyeshadow palettes I have, that they were like, oh, I had a look at your thumbnails and so many of the looks were super neutral. And I was like, yeah, because I was wearing a lot of neutral looks in the past 3 weeks, or like the past month or so. And part of it was because I had a lot of my favorite cool tone palettes selected for my February palettes revisited. So I definitely film with some of the looks that I'm wearing. The Ghostface lives. I have confirmed for myself yet again how much I love this. This is essentially a gray color story, and it's a color story after my heart, because even though it's gray, it's not a boring gray palette. With a boring gray palette, I mean it's just grays that are all like the same undertone, and then you get like a white or a black to like round things out. This does grays with undertones. We get blue tones, we get some greeny brown things, we get some purpley things in here, but essentially it is all gray. Is this going to look amazing on you if you have a very warm undertone? No. This is for the cool tone lovers. This is also for the fair skinned people out there, because even though this does have enough depth, it's not going to be deep enough if you have very deep skin. So I do really enjoy this palette. It has some really beautiful shimmers, but I do tend to go for like the same thing every single time, which is the Taupe stuff. Like, that's just what I live for. You can see I've got a nice little dent going on in this one right there. So yeah, this is a palette I will definitely be using again sometime in the future, but you will see tomorrow when I post my eyeshadow palette declutter, I have plenty of eyeshadow palettes, so for me to be rotating through them, it's gonna take a while. Another really good cool tone palette that I had in my selection is the Zimna Mocca from Glamshop. Glamshop does some amazing eyeshadow, and if you stay tuned, I may have purchased something new from this brand. So if you want to know more about Glamshop, then definitely have a look at the channel, because I have other videos up with nothing but my Glamshop palettes as well. So if you want to know more about this Polish indie brand, then be my guest. The reason why I love them isn't just because they are a Polish indie brand and they're therefore a little easier for me to buy from than from, for instance, US-based indie brands, but also because they do beautiful color stories like this. This is absolutely amazing. I think this is one of the best things they ever did. The thing with Glamshop though is that all of their eyeshadow palettes are limited edition. So once they sell out, they never come back in stock. You get 2 really nice light browns, some really nice grayish taupe leaning shimmers. Again, a little bit of depth for deepening things up or using as liner. There's enough light things here. There are 5 shimmers, 4 mattes. So that's another thing I really enjoy. This is just the undertones I like, the level of shimmer I like. Everything comes together for me in this. And these 9 pans, they retail for around 20 euros. So that's pretty affordable to me. I do find, like the last time I placed that order, that their shipping has gone up significantly compared to in the past. But I feel like that's the case all across the board with a lot of like different orders that I do. So I definitely think that that may factor in why some people may not want to try them. But for me, it was like, I think $8.95 for the order, which is still manageable. Like, and because I'm in the EU, there are no additional shipping and handling fees. So that's another win for me. So if you are in the US and something like the Glamshop is really, really difficult to get, my recommendation is still, till this day, the Colourpop That's Taupe. The That's Taupe, it's my tried and true. I love this thing to pieces. I go back to it once or twice every single year, and I have done so for quite some time. These are pretty pigmented, and it gives a similar effect to something like the Zimna Mocca or the Coco Sanka by Glamshop that I also own. It's incredibly similar to this, but yeah, depending on what the mood, like what my mood is like, I feel like the shimmers in the Glamshop are a little bit more interesting compared to this. This is a little bit more satin metallic, and there are no shifts. In the Zimna Mocca, you do get a couple that do have some sort of shift. But here, I love this shade here. I love that shade there. Like, you can see that this is one of my most reach for shades. You get a really nice, beautiful couple of mattes to go with it. It has 4 shimmers. It's really, really good. It's not super cool toned. I feel like the Zimna Mocca is lighter and a little bit more cool toned than this one is, but it's absolutely beautiful. And then I really wanted to play again with these things. These are by What's Up Beauty. Both of these were sent to me in PR by the brand. They are very kind, sometimes sending me things my way, and that's how I got to try them. And these are really good palettes if you like neutrals, but you want to dip your toes into colors. And even though I love my really bright, colorful eyeshadow palettes, I don't tend to reach for primary or super rainbowy, intense, colorful shades all that often. If I go colorful, I tend to reach for palettes like this. So I have the What's Up Beauty Geodes palettes. This one is absolutely beautiful. I love this packaging with like the foiling on it. And then inside, you essentially get a warm toned half and like a purpley rosy toned half, but all of the shades also can be mixed and matched depending on what you like. The formula is quite soft, but it's very blendable and buildable as well, which is what I prefer. I don't necessarily love boom kapow in your face pigment, but I do like when a shade can be built up into intensity. Here again, some really beautiful shifty things in the packaging and in the palette itself. So this has a bit of a shift, this has a bit of a shift. Really, really beautiful. You can go super neutral with this if you just stick to, for instance, this shade, and I don't know, maybe this shimmer right here. It can be super neutral, or maybe this, and then with the yellowy tone here, and then this also has a bit of a yellowy undertone. So that can be a super nice, more like neutrally look, but you can go full on purple if you want to. Add that pop of green to the lower lash line and it will be absolutely stunning as well. And this is one of those oil slick kind of shades. I don't feel they're super unique anymore, but it does go with this palette really nicely. And all of these shades are just absolutely stunning. I really enjoyed playing with this palette. And yeah, their products are all made in Italy, but they are assembled in the USA. So that's why I think I love the quality so much. For some reason, if makeup is made in Italy, I tend to like it. Like, I'm not even conscious of this, but I have just found, trying so much makeup over time, is that when I love something and I look on the back and it says made in Italy, I now go like, yeah, of course. The other one I have by them is the Dragon Eye. This has some multi-chromes in, but again, we will talk about multi-chromes in a second because I am wearing a couple of different multi-chromes today as well with one of the looks that I did. But in here, it's a similar sort of setup. I feel like the shades, like color-wise, it's very similar to the Geodes, but a little bit more intense. Because again, with the warm tones and like the purpley rosy things, you get enough mattes, but plenty of shimmers. And then everything has a shift. Everything in here is shifty and different. But because this isn't a super heavy formula, I do feel that the shifts are a little bit more subtle. So if you want something boom kapow, incredibly shifty, this is not going to be for you, but it's almost like a sophisticated take on a multi-chrome, I feel. Love this shade, for instance. You can see I have a nice little dent going on in that one. The green is also absolutely stunning in here. Yeah, there are shades in here that I don't reach for. Like, I don't love coral on myself, but this is a good enough neutral for the crease. This purpley tone can go into the crease, and I sort of build the look around that. So lots of really good, amazing options here, but do be noted that I didn't pay for these myself because they were sent to me in PR. That was it for February. Again, nothing but rave reviews here. I knew I loved these going into it, and using them again has confirmed for me that I still love them. So how do I feel about my little March selection? Because all I selected were a couple of bits I have from Menagerie Cosmetics. So I haven't bought from this brand for some time. They shut down most of international shipping during COVID times, and I think I still managed to pick up the Pastel Pup at like a random moment in time, but then I sort of fell out of love with the brand because it was so difficult to buy. These are really heavy palettes because they are fully magnetized, so shipping with them is incredibly difficult and incredibly expensive. I think the Feral, this one, was my first one I ever bought by them, and I think I paid twice as much as the retail value of the actual palette in shipping and handling fees. So I think these retail for like $45. I think I paid 100 euros for this palette. Is that worth it in the long run? Not anymore for me, so that's why I kind of stopped buying them. But the things I have for them, I do love, even though you will see me declutter a couple of the palettes that I have because I have just found better things that are newer to me. But the Feral, I mean, it came out on top in my colorful eyeshadow palette ranking yet again, because the Feral is just such a good palette. I never know how to say this. Like, is it Feral? Feral? I think it can be pronounced in different ways. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And in here, you get such a beautiful, colorful, rainbow-esque color story, but that is more like a painter's palette, so it is very adaptable to what you want to go for. Whenever I look at this palette, I want to do a green and pink look, and I feel I did that the last time I tried this, so I went with my favorite neutral with a pop of teal look this time round. So I used a couple of these neutrals, this in the crease, this all over the lid, this as liner, and this is in the bottom lash line. This shimmer, I mean, you can see it has a dent, right? It is beautiful. It's this like brownie pinky peach. It's absolutely amazing. It goes really well with the pinks as well. There's a pink shimmer and a green shimmer. And that's another reason why I've stopped buying Menagerie. They only tend to do 2 to 3 shimmers in every single palette they do, and I just really enjoy shimmers. So that's why when I was playing around with these, I brought in this big guy. This is my Clionadh multi-chrome palette that I built myself. These are singles that I've picked up from the brand over time and that I just wanted to have a play with. One of my goals in 2025 is when I do a video like this is to either include a little build your own palette sort of moment and do a look with that, or to do it like this where I have palettes where I feel there's something lacking and I use my singles collection to get more use out of it. And it worked really well for me. For the Feral look I did, I just used this shade here at the bottom in the inner corner. That's called Fluorescence. But with the other 2 palettes, I knew I wanted to go in with a little bit more than in this one. Because especially in this guy, the Pastel Pup, this is such a good rainbow pastel palette. Again, it was ranked pretty high in my colorful palette ranking, but it only has 1 shimmer and a black and a white. These are the 3 shades I never even think about using when I reach for this palette. And the shimmer, being a blue tone multi-chrome, only really goes with these 2 shades. Not with the greens, which is what I decided to use for the look I ended up doing. Not with the yellow or the orange, the pink, or this like periwinkle shade. It just doesn't really come together. So what I did with the look I ended up doing with this is that I set up the look with those green mattes. But all the shimmers you see in this look are with the Clionadh multi-chromes. So let me see if I remember what I used because it's been a couple of days. We have Iron Gate, which is right here. I also used a bit of Duchess, which is right here, and I used a little bit of Luxe, which is this white tone right there. So you can see I have a lot of these like things that essentially look white in the pan, but they all have different shifts. And then in the Clionadh palette, I have a bunch of their like neutral multi-chromes. Those are my favorite. And then I have some of the glitter multi-chromes in here, and then I have some of the true jewel multi-chromes as well that have the really deep base. But those I feel like with multi-chromes, if you really want to give them their moment to shine, it's like a matte in the crease, multi-chrome all over the lid, and maybe repeat that on the lower lash line and pop something else in the inner corner. But I don't really feel you can do much else with them, because if you don't put them all over your lid, because your lid, like you have the little curve of where your eyeball is, so putting a multi-chrome shimmer all over the lid is really where it's going to get its moment to shine, because that's where you can really see the shifts and then when you move around. So I feel you need to use multi-chromes on a pretty large amount of real estate if you really want to show them, like have them show up the way you see them when you like apply them with a finger swatch. So that's the look that I did with the Pastel Pup, and the final one is on my lids today, and that one is with the Dragon Child. My two favorite, like four favorite shades in here are these four purpley tones, and in the declutter you'll see tomorrow I'm saying that I'm going to be decluttering this. But now that I've used it again, I feel torn. I feel torn. I may pull this one back out. This is what I do every year. I declutter my collection, but when you're decluttering, you can really get caught up in the moment. And that's why I always wait before I pass all of the products on to family, friends, neighbors, colleagues. Like, it's all going to be passed around to people. It's going to go to good homes. But what I end up doing is that I wait until I have posted all of the videos, because editing the videos is going to make me go like, do I really want to get rid of that product? I don't think so. And then what I do is that I take a moment on a day off where I just go through the entire box, make little boxes for everyone sometimes already, and that's when I will sometimes pull products. And this is one of those where I'm like, might want to pull that one, might want to pull that one. So what I ended up doing is that I put this one in the crease and this one is on the lower lash line. But then again, everything else is a multi-chrome from Clionadh. So let me show you. I used Hilt, which is this like periwinkle sort of number all over the lid. And it's like a periwinkle base, but then it has peach, gold, green. Like, it looks super whimsical and ethereal, and that's what I was going for. I ended up using Royal or Royalty, which is this more vibrant purple, on the lower lash line, and I used a little bit of Glint, or was it Glisten? I forgot the name. The names are all so similar that you never know what you're grabbing for. It's Glint. So this shade is called Glint, and that's what's in the inner corner today. Just applied a bit of black mascara, and you're good to go. Like, with multi-chromes, I just feel I need to let the shade do the talking and not play with it too much. Of course, you can layer it over other things and stuff, but I just really had fun playing it with it like this. And this way, I think it's a great way for me to get more use out of my Menagerie palettes, because I feel they are just so matte heavy, and those mattes pair really well with multi-chromes, I have found. So that's been my little makeup sort of palettes revisited, things I love that I want to get more use out of, because this channel isn't all about the new stuff, you guys. I try to focus as well on going back to things, especially my Shop My Stashes. Every single month I select products I've used before, I use things up. I don't make separate videos calling them project pans, but that's definitely part of this channel, and my singles collection is very underused, so I need to bring them back into the channel, because that's always my sort of push that I need to actually be using the product. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for more. I show my Shop My Stash every single month. At the start of the month, on the first Tuesday of every month, I show you what products I will be selected, and that way you know exactly what it is that's new to me, that what I will be reviewing, which will be used in other videos, or what's going to show up on the blog, but also what I just enjoy and what I want to go back to and get more use out of and try to use up and all that. So that's really going to be part of my Shop My Stash. So hope you'd like to stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you again very, very soon in a new video. Bye-bye.